Hello, everybody. My name is Caroline McBreen. I'm the COO at Rpharmy. Thank you for joining us this week's Formweb and 15-minute webinar, where we will be discussing therapeutic interchanges. Before I hand it off to Laura and Charlene, I would like to share the schedule for the recordings and the upcoming webinars. To view these recordings and to register for upcoming sessions, you can scan this QR code. Next webinar, we will be discussing REMS, which is a very popular topic. So now I will hand it off to Laura Paxton, our CEO, and Charlene Kristen, our Customer Success Director. Ladies?
Hello, everybody, and thanks so much for joining us. I am Laura Paxton. We appreciate you being here. Today, we're going to talk about therapeutic interchanges, and to get started, we are going to just familiarize you with the Formweb site. So Formweb is a formulary product and also a medication safety portal or pharmacy resource center. And if you look at the left side of the screen, that's all about the formulary notice. People put their formulary addition request forms, questions to the pharmacy. You can search for a drug in 4 different ways. You also have a QR code that you can scan to make sure this goes on any of your devices. On the right side, you see how people manage their communications as part of Formweb. So to get on with the show, let's talk about therapeutic interchanges today. And what we're going to show you is the way that several different clients manage this information. So if you look at the left side of the screen, you notice that we have a subcategory called therapeutic interchange. We're going to click on that, and we see all the drugs that are in the demo site where we've done some sort of therapeutic interchange, so you can see how your peers do this. Once again, this is a demo site, so it's not a full list of drugs, and this is just an example of what your peers are doing. So notice the list of drugs with therapeutic interchanges. Notice the information in text off to the right side. So if someone just wanted to do a quick look at therapeutic interchanges, they could see their instructions on the right side of this page, and they could move along with their lives. So let's click on acetaminophen to show you. So notice on acetaminophen that you have the drug name, the form, the strength, and in this instance, we're using the table display. And in the table display, you have the ability to customize the different columns that are part of your display. And in the case of this client, it's restricted and therapeutic interchange for this particular form and strength. And you see that the notes tell you to see additional information. We're going to scroll down, and you see for this particular client in the comment section the additional information that's available about the restrictions on this drug. You also see that this instance shows the common side effect information for acetaminophen. You see that there's a link to the black box warnings. And this is part of what we do when we build anyone's site. We take all the drugs that have boxed warnings that are in your formulary, and we link to them. And when the person clicks on that black box warning information, it goes out to that specific drug information on the black box warning site, blackboxrx.com. You should avail yourself of that information. Then you see the therapeutic interchange information. So acetaminophen, ERTI, auto sub to acetaminophen. This is a place where you can add your own information and specifically tell people how to use that drug. And here's another example of this drug being restricted. And someone is going to click to the acetaminophen IV so they can get to the specific information on that drug detail page, which in this case would take you to this information. Also notice on this drug, we're going to show you 2 different views of the Formweb page, because with Formweb, we make sure that it addresses the way all of you want to see specific information in your drug display. So here's an example of the classic view where you see the forms and the strengths that are available. Then you see how someone else would have done their restrictions on this particular drug. And then you see the large health system example. And here you go. This is for a health system where you have different restrictions or comments per hospital. So here you see they're using the classic view where you've got the drug name, the form, the strength, and then you see based on the different hospitals for acetaminophen IV, the different restrictions or instructions for that particular drug. So there are so many ways to communicate this information. It just depends how you guys need to do that, what makes sense in your organization. So let's look at this next drug for a therapeutic interchange. This is a great example of one of our clients who actually wanted to build a table into that specific drug so that the clinician is inside the EHR on their phone. They see exactly what they need. They move along to whatever it is they need to do next. Here's another example where they've put actually the information in there about their therapeutic classes and the different therapeutic interchanges on that. Here is another table in a different way that a client has published their therapeutic interchanges. As you can see, there are so many ways to do this. You have to think through what makes the most sense, how your end user can get to this information very, very quickly. This is an example of a client that comments out the information in the comment section of their Formweb and also in the therapeutic interchange area. And here's another one. Notice in the table, this drug is on formulary. It has a therapeutic interchange. They're using the common side effect information. And then we're going to link to their therapeutic interchange list that they have for their particular hospital or health system. And here's another one. I like this one too because it lists all the therapeutic interchanges and tells you in text what particular strength is going to be substituted for that drug. And then the last one, it's another table where you see the non-formulary and the formulary agent. You see the different forms and strengths and what's non-formulary and what has therapeutic interchange and what the restrictions are. Now, Charlene, that was a whole lot of stuff done very, very quickly. What did I miss? What other information should we be telling people?
I mean, I think you covered just about all the ways to publish the information. I think what people probably need to keep in mind when they are deciding on how they want to do it is maintenance. Just understand that it's best to have more than one person that is an editor, so you can kind of tag team on this. Just keep in mind, if you are building that information out at the drug level, that whenever that information is updated, you'll need to go in there and update that at the drug level. We have some clients that are linking to a document. So the difference is if you build this out at the drug level, that the user has the information right away. It's right there on the screen. If you build it out in a document and link to that document, it's just an additional click. So keep in mind the workflow and the time spent on accessing the information for the end user, but at the same time, keep yourself in mind and keep the idea of how much maintenance it's going to take to keep it up to date.
Now, Charlene, once you come up in an organization, once you come up with the therapeutic interchange, how often do those change?
Probably, well, not that often. A lot of times it depends on when your contracts come up for renegotiation, and if there were a lot of changes in contracts, then you would probably see a lot of changes in therapeutic substitutions at that point, especially for your generic products. But for the, chemotherapies and high dollar items, you're not going to see a lot of therapeutic substitution there, except for your biosimilars and that type of thing.
Do you see people using the therapeutic interchange listing to talk through what to use in specific drug shortages?
No, but I don't see them doing that, but I see them publishing that information when they have drug shortages on what their alternative product is going to be.
Ah, okay. So it's a whole different area where they do that.
Right.
Although we do have clients who actually have a drug shortage subformulary. Okay. All right. Is there anything
Shirley,
else that
I have another question for you. What would you say? Two questions. What % of clients have chosen to have therapeutic interchanges as its own sublisting on that left hand? And also, if you're looking at the column display that Laura was showing, what % of our clients choose to include therapeutic interchange as a column? Do you know that?
So of the clients that I would say probably 90% of our clients include therapeutic substitutions or interchanges in their build. Those that have it as a listing, I would say maybe 65%. And for those that have the column display, I think just about everybody that has the column display includes a column for therapeutic substitution. If not everybody, at least 90% of those.
And you mentioned the maintenance of it. Again, I don't know if you know this off the top of your head, but how common is it to maintain a file in Formweb and just replace the link and not break it versus these tables that you see?
So it's much easier, especially now with the new Formweb management or file management tool that we have. It's much easier to upload a new version of a document, and you don't have any link breakage. Everything remains the same everywhere, so that's a non-issue. As far as building out the information at the drug level, that's just a lot more labor intensive.
Mhm.
But better for the end user. So it all depends on what your scope is,
Yes.
you know.
Well, if you think about it, so if you start out linking to a document, and that's great, but maybe over time you want to add a table to make it easier because you can't do all of this at once. We have to parse it out so it won't be overwhelming.
I recently had a client that they wanted their tables built out on all their drugs, but they wanted their tables to look identical to the document that they had built. So if I built all that information out at the drug level, it would take up so much space. So we ended up linking to the document, but linking directly to that specific table for that drug on that document. So it was just one click. It's not a click, and then you have to search for the drug. It was just a click to go directly to that specific table.
Oh, that's perfect. And that's so easy to maintain.
Yes. Yeah.
That's really a great idea. All right. Anything else that anyone has to say about therapeutic interchanges so we can keep this to 15 minutes?
Not me. Thank you, guys.
Thank you both.
Next time, join us to discuss REMS, which is a very commonly asked feature we get asked about. So thank you very much.
Thank you all for joining us.